They didn't fear her rifle. They feared her notebook. Because the moment she realized the war was being sold from the inside, she stopped being a young recon scout. She became the most dangerous person in the entire command chain. Second Lieutenant Maya Carter learned early that respect and intelligence didn't arrive as a gift. It arrived as a bruise. In the Joint Operations Center, the air smelled like burnt coffee and old carpet glue. Screens glowed with satellite feeds, drone views, and lines of encrypted text that looked like nonsense to anyone outside the room. Men with confident voices moved like they owned the place. Operators, analysts, officers with patches and medals, and the kind of seniority that turned questions into insults. Maya walked in quietly, her hair pulled tight, her uniform sharp, her eyes uncomfortably awake for 0300. She was 24. Recon background, top scores in field tradecraft and data exploitation, and knew enough that everyone still called her Kid. "Carter," said Captain Briggs, her immediate supervisor, without looking up from his tablet. "You're on night correlation. We need a clean pattern on enemy radio shifts." "Yes, sir," she said. Someone behind her chuckled. Night correlation was grunt work, sifting through raw data until your brain turned into static. Maya didn't argue. She took her seat, logged in, and began the slow work. Timestamps, cross-references, frequency hops, cell tower pings, route projections. 2 hours later, she found something that didn't belong. A signal, short, tight, encrypted, originating from inside the secure network. Not a normal internal packet. Not a standard update. The metadata was wrong. A file tag reserved for top-tier operational maps and live movement routes. She blinked twice. Read it again. It wasn't supposed to be possible. The data packet's destination didn't resolve to any authorized node. It didn't bounce to Allied intelligence. It didn't route to a partner network. It disappeared. Maya zoomed in, heart pulling tighter. The file label, OP route/Bluewind/0400Z. A troop movement route. A route scheduled for tomorrow. A route that would put Allied soldiers into a narrow valley that the enemy already liked to mine. She stared at the timestamp. The packet had been sent 19 minutes ago, from a terminal ID that wasn't in the analyst bay. It was in the command suite. Maya's throat went dry. She ran the trace again, slower, more careful. She searched for false positives, for internal diagnostics, for any explanation that didn't involve a nightmare. The trace didn't change. The packet originated from Gen OPS-1, the terminal reserved for the office of General Adrian Kessler, the region's senior commander, the man whose signature could move battalions. Maya sat back, feeling the room tilt. It couldn't be him. Not a general. Not the man who spoke about honor like he invented it. Not the man who visited hospitals and shook hands with families and looked flawless in every broadcast clip. Her stomach tightened anyway, because war taught her something. If you want to hide a crime, you do it where no one is brave enough to look. Maya didn't sleep that morning. She walked back to her barracks room while the base woke up. Boots stomping, trucks growling, distant rotor blades starting their day. She sat on her bunk, laptop open, hands shaking slightly from too much caffeine and too much truth. The decision was simple in words and impossible in real life. Report it, or verify it first. If she reported the general on one trace line, and she was wrong, her career was over. Worse than that, she'd be labeled unstable. A problem. A young woman who didn't know her place. But if she stayed silent and she was right, soldiers would die. A lot of them. Maya reached for her notebook, the one she carried in every pocket like it was oxygen, and wrote a single sentence. Truth doesn't care about rank. Then she got up and went back. In the JOC, she pulled last month's archived logs, quietly, without telling anyone. She searched for the same signature, a classified route file leaving the secure system. She found 3, all sent late at night, all from command suite terminal IDs, all disappearing the same way. She cross-checked the dates with battlefield outcomes. The same routes, the same valleys, the same unexpected ambushes, the same after-action reports blaming enemy luck and unpredictable terrain. Her hands clenched into fists under the desk. This wasn't luck. This was someone selling the war. Maya stood, walked to Captain Briggs, and chose her words carefully. "Sir, I found anomalies in secure packet flow." Briggs looked annoyed. "Anomalies?" "Yes, sir. Files that shouldn't be transmitted, leaving the secure suite." Briggs frowned slightly. "Are you sure this isn't a system sync?" "No, sir." He leaned back, scanning her expression like he was searching for immaturity. "What are you implying, Lieutenant?" Maya swallowed. "I'm implying the leaks come from upstairs." The room felt colder. Briggs' face shifted just a little. Not shock, not disbelief. Something else. Then he smiled. Thin. Controlled. "Carter," he said gently, "you're new. And you work hard. But you need to understand how this place works." Maya stood her ground. "With respect, sir, this place works because people die when it doesn't." Briggs' eyes hardened. "Go back to your desk." Maya didn't move. He lowered his voice. "Do you know what happens to people who make accusations without evidence?" Maya's heartbeat hammered. "I'm collecting evidence." Briggs held her gaze for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "Be careful what you collect." Maya walked away with her spine straight, but her blood felt like ice. Because she understood what his warning really meant. Someone was already watching her. That night, Maya met the only person she trusted enough to say the words out loud. Sergeant Jonah Pike was Signals Intelligence, older than her, calmer, a man who spoke like every sentence was weighed on a scale. He'd been in 3 deployments. He didn't gossip. He didn't flirt. He didn't laugh at junior officers. And most importantly, he hated corruption with a quiet, lethal intensity. They met near the motor pool, away from cameras, where engines and darkness hid conversations. Maya didn't waste time. "Someone is leaking routes from the command suite." Pike stared at her. "Who?" Maya swallowed. "General Kessler's terminal is in the chain." Pike's expression didn't explode. It tightened. "That's not something you say unless you can prove it," he said. "I'm trying," Maya replied. "I need access to deeper logs. The kind that only SIGINT and cybersecurity can see." Pike exhaled slowly. "You know what happens if you pull those logs without authorization?" "Yes." "And you're still asking." Maya's voice wavered for the first time. "People died because of this. I can line up routes with casualties. I can show patterns. But I need the missing piece." Pike studied her face. "How many routes?" "For confirmed in the past month," she said. "Maybe more." Pike's jaw flexed. "You're sure it's not an inside analyst making a mistake?" Maya shook her head. "The packets route to a ghost endpoint. Someone built a shadow pipe. That takes senior access." Pike looked away, toward the dark line of the airfield. Then back. "Okay," he said. "One look." Maya felt the world narrow. "One look at what?" Pike leaned close. "The night log mirror. The thing we pretend doesn't exist." Maya's breath caught. "Why would you have that?" Pike's eyes were flat. "Because a good intelligence unit always keeps a copy of the truth." At 0200, Pike led her into a small annex room behind the SIGINT bay, an unmarked space with an old server rack and a silent camera lens that had been taped over years ago. He typed a code. A hidden terminal woke with a dim glow. Maya's fingers shook as she leaned closer. "What is this?" Pike spoke softly. "A mirror feed. Not official. Not illegal if you don't get caught." He pulled the log. Lines of encrypted transactions scrolled. Maya searched for Blue Wind. She found it. Then she followed the routing metadata, past the command suite, beyond the base, into a satellite relay channel that should have been unreachable without a top-level key. And there it was. The destination signature. A foreign intelligence relay. A known hostile intercept network. Maya stared at the screen until her eyes burned. Pike whispered, "It's real." Maya's voice broke. "It's him." Pike didn't say yes. He didn't have to. The data did it for him. Maya scrolled further back. She found other file labels. OP strike/nightfall. Drone route/lantern. Asset list/glass harbor. And next to each one was a silent consequence. Missions compromised. Assets killed. Ambushes explained by nothing except betrayal. Maya pressed her palm to her mouth, fighting the urge to vomit. A general. A man entrusted with lives. Selling classified secrets like they were spare parts. Pike looked at her. What do you want to do? Maya wiped her eyes hard. Report it. Pike's voice was steady. To who? Maya froze. Because that was the real trap. If the general was compromised, he had friends. He had influence. He had the power to bury her under paperwork, investigations, accusations, and career-ending misconduct. And if Captain Briggs already suspected she was onto something, then she was already standing on thin ice over a deep lake. Maya swallowed. We go outside the chain. Pike nodded slowly. Which means you're starting a war inside the war. Maya's eyes sharpened. Then I'll win both. General Adrian Kessler wasn't the kind of man who raised his voice. He didn't need to. His power lived in the quiet spaces, where a signature could reroute a battalion, where a single phone call could end a career, where a smile at the right moment could turn truth into confusion. Maya understood that instinctively the first time she saw him in person. He entered the operations center like it belonged to him in the way a storm belongs to the sky. People straightened. Conversations died. Even the most senior officers shifted their posture as if the room's gravity changed. Kessler's uniform was perfect. His hair was silver at the temples in a way that looked intentional. His eyes were calm, almost kind, like he'd practiced kindness in front of mirrors until it became a weapon. He stopped near the central map display and spoke to the room with a gentle confidence. Good evening, he said. I know you're tired. I know you're stretched thin. But our mission remains simple. Protect our people, maintain stability, and deny the enemy momentum. Maya sat at her station behind a bank of monitors, pretending to work, pulse hammering. He looked out over the analysts. And for a breath, just a breath, his gaze found her. Not with surprise. Not with curiosity. With recognition. Like he already knew her name. Then he smiled. Maya's skin went cold. She didn't know how, but she felt it. He knew someone was sniffing around his pipeline. And now, he was searching the room for the nose. After the brief, Kessler moved through the rows, stopping to shake hands, to ask questions, to praise initiative. It was theater, and everyone played their part, because refusing to clap in front of a king was its own kind of suicide. Captain Briggs hovered nearby, watching Maya's station too often. When Kessler reached her row, Briggs stepped forward like a handler. General, Briggs said warmly, this is Lieutenant Carter. Outstanding performance on correlation and pattern analysis. Kessler tilted his head, as if considering art in a museum. Lieutenant Carter, he said, I've heard your name. Maya forced her face into stillness. Yes, sir. His eyes flicked to her screen. You like puzzles, Lieutenant? Yes, sir. Kessler nodded slowly. Good. Puzzles keep the mind sharp. He leaned closer, just slightly. But I'll give you advice, he said softly, like a grandfather sharing a secret. Some puzzles are designed to hurt the person who solves them. Maya didn't flinch. She couldn't afford to. I appreciate the guidance, sir. Kessler smiled again, a perfect curve of calm. Do you? Then he moved on. When he left the JOC, the room exhaled like it had been underwater. Captain Briggs waited until the door closed. Then he turned to Maya. You look pale, Lieutenant. I'm fine, sir. Briggs' voice was still gentle, but his eyes were sharp now. You should take the rest of the night off. Maya blinked. Sir, I'm assigned. Take it off, Briggs repeated. Go rest. It wasn't an order given for her benefit. It was a leash. Maya stood slowly. Understood. She walked out with calm steps, but inside her chest the war had already begun. Because now she knew. They were going to try to stop her before she could speak. And she had to move faster than their silence. Maya didn't go to her room. She went to Pike. They met again near the motor pool, then slipped into the shadow annex like before. Pike's face was tense the moment he saw her. "He knows," Maya said. Pike didn't ask who. He didn't need to. "He spoke to you?" "Yes," she whispered. "He warned me like he was doing me a favor." Pike exhaled through his nose. "That means the clock is shorter than we thought." Maya's hands trembled as she opened her notebook. "We need a clean, undeniable package," she said. "Something we can send outside the base, outside his reach." Pike nodded. "We need to get it into an inspector's hands. Someone from oversight. Someone with authority above him." Maya stared at the log lines on the screen, her mind racing through possibilities. "But if we just report it through the system," she said, "he'll bury it. He'll twist it. He'll say the logs are manipulated." Pike's gaze hardened. "Then we give them something he can't call fake." "Like what?" Pike leaned in. "The payment trail." Maya's breath caught. "You think he's getting paid?" Pike's voice was low. "No one sells the war for free." Maya's pulse surged. If they could find money, offshore transfers, shell companies, crypto wallets, it would change everything. A leaked packet could be blamed on technical error. Money couldn't. How? Maya asked. Pike hesitated, then said what he'd been avoiding. "We use bait." Maya looked at him sharply. Pike continued. "We create a fake classified route file. Mark it at a level only the command suite can access. Put a tracer in the metadata, something invisible unless you know where to look. When it leaves, it pings us with the full relay path." Maya's voice came thin. "That's dangerous." Pike's eyes didn't blink. "So is letting him keep selling people." Maya nodded once. "Do it." Pike began typing. Maya watched him work like watching a man wire a bomb while you stand next to it. The file was designed perfectly, realistic, urgent, believable. Then Pike embedded the tracer. A tiny thread stitched into the file that would wake up the moment it passed through the shadow pipe. Maya stared at the fake label Pike typed. "Opiroute/ironlace/2300Z." She swallowed. "That's tonight." Pike nodded. "If he's active, he'll take it." They uploaded it into the secure environment, tagged exactly the way a real route file would be tagged. Then they waited. At 22:47, the tracer lit up. Maya's heart slammed in her chest. The file moved. It left the secure system, passed through the command suite, and shot into the satellite relay, exactly as before. But this time, the tracer captured something new. A handshake ID, a transaction signature, a digital fingerprint linking the relay to a known hostile intelligence hub, and, most importantly, an authentication token. Pike's face went pale. "That token? What?" Maya whispered. "That's not just a relay key," Pike said. "That's a personal authentication token." Maya stared at the screen. It was like watching someone's handwriting appear on a murder weapon. Pike whispered the words like they were acid. "It's him." Maya felt a cold, quiet fury settle into her bones. "Copy everything," she said. Pike did. They wrapped the proof into an encrypted package with redundancy, logs, tracer outputs, the token signature, timestamps, cross-reference charts. Maya clenched her jaw. "We send it now." Pike hesitated. "To who?" Maya had already made the decision. "Office of Special Investigations." Pike stared at her. "OSI can crush him. Or get crushed." Maya's eyes didn't move. "Then we give them no choice." The next morning, Maya arrived at work to find 2 military police officers waiting by her desk. Captain Briggs stood behind them with his arms crossed. "Maya Carter," one MP said, voice formal. "You need to come with us." Maya's stomach dropped, but her face stayed calm. "For what?" Briggs stepped closer, voice soft like poison. "A security audit. It won't take long." Maya looked at the MPs. Their eyes avoided hers. She understood immediately. This wasn't an audit. This was the beginning of a story they planned to tell about her. One where she was the villain. Maya nodded slowly. "Okay." They escorted her down a corridor into a small room with a metal table and a single camera in the corner. Briggs entered and closed the door. "Lieutenant," he said, sitting across from her. "Do you know why you're here?" Maya kept her voice steady. No, sir. Briggs placed a folder on the table and slid it toward her. Inside were printed screenshots, access logs, her login credentials, a list of files she had viewed, classified archives, packet traces, security logs. Briggs sighed as if disappointed. You accessed protected intelligence archives without authorization. Maya stared at the papers. Her stomach tightened. They were real, because she had done it. But she had done it to stop betrayal. Briggs leaned forward. Do you know what this looks like? Maya met his eyes. It looks like I was investigating a leak. Briggs smiled faintly. Investigating? Or collecting? Maya's blood went colder. Sir, you know why I did it. Briggs' expression didn't change. You think you found something, he said. But what you actually did was commit multiple violations of classified access protocol. That's a court-martial offense. Maya's voice sharpened. You're trying to make me the criminal. Briggs' smile disappeared. I'm trying to protect this unit from reckless behavior. Maya leaned in, eyes bright with fury. No, she whispered. You're protecting him. Briggs stared at her for a long moment. Then he stood and walked to the door. Lieutenant Carter, he said, voice cold now. Until further notice, you are suspended from duty and under investigation. You will surrender your access credentials and personal devices immediately. The MPs returned. Maya's phone was taken. Her laptop, her badge, her world. She stood as they let her out. But as she walked down the corridor, she realized something important. They were moving too fast. They were panicking. And panic meant one thing. OSI had received her package. That evening, Maya sat alone in her barracks room, staring at the wall. Her door was closed. Her window was dark. She felt the weight of isolation like someone had poured concrete into her chest. They were going to destroy her. That was the plan. They would paint her as unstable, ambitious, dangerously obsessive. They would claim she hacked systems. They would bury her under rules and paperwork until no one remembered what she had tried to say. And if that didn't work, she didn't want to think about what else might happen. Her notebook lay on the bed. She opened it and read the sentence she had written. Truth doesn't care about rank. Her radio on the bedside table, a small authorized unit for internal comms, crackled suddenly. Maya froze. A voice came through, low and careful. Lieutenant Carter. Maya's breath caught. Who is this? OSI, the voice replied. Don't say anything. Just listen. Maya sat up slowly. We received your package, OSI said. We need you alive. Maya swallowed hard. Alive? Your chain of command is compromised, OSI continued. We believe General Kessler is aware of the investigation. We believe he is moving assets to destroy evidence. Maya's hands clenched. What do you need from me? A pause. We need you to meet us off base, OSI said. Now, before they lock you down completely. Maya's pulse thundered. I'm under investigation, she whispered. They're watching me. Then don't walk out like someone escaping, OSI replied. Walk out like someone going to take a breath. Maya's mouth went dry. Where? Fuel depot perimeter gate, the voice said. 10 minutes. The radio clicked off. Maya sat in silence for 1 second. Then she moved. Fast. She pulled on her jacket, tucked her notebook inside, and walked out of the barracks as if she was going to the vending machine. The night air was cool. The base was quieter now, shift changes, distant engines, the low hum of generators. She walked toward the fuel depot, keeping her pace normal, breathing controlled. Every footstep felt like it echoed. At the gate, a dark SUV waited with its lights off. The passenger door opened. A man in plain clothes leaned out just enough for her to see a badge. Carter, he whispered. Maya nodded and stepped in. The door shut. The SUV rolled away. And behind her, in the base's quiet darkness, the machine that protected the general began to realize she was slipping through its fingers. 3 days later, the story exploded. Not on social media. Not on the news. Inside the halls where real power lived. OSI raided the command suite at 0410 when most of the base was asleep. They seized terminals, encrypted drives, personal devices, and, most importantly, the authentication token list. General Adrian Kessler was escorted out of his office in silence. No shouting, no spectacle, just a man walking with his posture stiff, jaw tight, eyes still calm. But when he saw Maya standing at the end of the corridor beside two OSI agents, something flickered in his expression for the first time. Not fear, not shame, anger, as if she had broken a rule more sacred than law. She had dared to challenge him. Later, in the secure hearing room, Maya sat at a table with an OSI prosecutor beside her. Across the room, Kessler sat with his defense team, face composed. The hearing began. Evidence was presented. Logs, tracer paths, token signatures, payment records OSI had uncovered, shell accounts, foreign transfers, a hidden stream of money disguised as consulting through dummy companies. Then the prosecutor played audio from intercepted enemy chatter. A voice speaking about routes with the calm certainty of someone reading a schedule. OSI's voice analyst testified. Match probability, 97.4% to General Adrian Kessler. The room went cold. Kessler finally spoke, voice smooth. This is a witch hunt. The prosecutor didn't flinch. This is an audit of bodies you helped create. Maya sat still. Her hands were folded. Her heart was hammering. But she didn't look away. Because this wasn't just about catching him. It was about proving that even in a system made of ranks, truth could still stand upright. Kessler turned his head slightly toward her. His eyes were sharp. "You're young," he said softly, as if speaking to a child. "You think you've won because you found patterns. But you don't understand what war requires." Maya's voice came out steady, clear, and impossible to ignore. War requires loyalty to your people, not loyalty to your bank account. A faint murmur moved through the room. Kessler's jaw tightened. Then he leaned forward, voice dropping. "You know what happens to people who become symbols, Lieutenant?" Maya didn't blink. "They become targets." The prosecutor cut in sharply. "General, you are ordered to remain silent." Kessler leaned back, face calm again. But the threat had already been said, and Maya understood. Even if justice won in the courtroom, the war wasn't over yet. Next part 2. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Epic Recon Stories. Here we tell the missions that never made the headlines, the decisions made in silence, and the people who carried them. More stories are coming soon.